Grow your practice, grow your wealth, grow your impact. Find out how to spend less time in the dental chair and more time on the things you love.
Welcome back to the Dental Wealth Podcast. Glad to have you back. Man, I've recorded, sometimes I get in these days, I've recorded, honestly, 2-3 podcasts today, and I feel fired up. So if my energy's high, that's the way I feel, because sometimes topics hit you, and I think they're really important to do and talk about. And I think I made a note on my phone, so I hope you do this. I hope when you think of a great idea, you'll think that you capture it, and you don't. Right? And you think you'll remember it. How many of you do that, right? You think you'll remember it and you won't. And so I want to read this to you. Great economies and bad economies test business relationships equally. Both will show you how much people truly care for you. I want to say that again. Great economies and bad economies test business relationships equally. Both will show you how much people care for you. And it was something that popped in my head one day, and I was like, really, if you think about it, both economies are going to test relationships. And, there's two parts of this, is really what are my relationships today and what relationships do I need to have? And that's part of, dental wealth and understanding, is that relationships are like the difference. I know my life started to transform when I started bringing in people in my life who were transformative in their own nature, and they were growing and they had capital and they were doing awesome things. And so, it's what ends up happening is right now it's a great economy, right? So longest running bull market in the history of the country, things are great. And so you're looking around, you're like, man, my banker loves me, and my girlfriend loves me, or my wife loves me, and everyone loves me, and everything's great, and my team loves me. And so what ends up happening is we start looking at those relationships and say, really, are those great relationships, are those relationships kind of temporary based on circumstance? And we really truly test them most, right? Because why do great economies test you? Because those people, sometimes if you're not the biggest fish anymore, they're going to move on to another fish, right? And so they test those great relationships because they have the ability to leave you behind. And then in a bad economy, they have the ability to leave you behind too, right? Except now all of a sudden the banker, you can't get the loan. All of a sudden you don't get the phone call anymore, right? And there goes the girlfriend or the wife. And I'm just, don't take that too literal. But the whole point is, what I'm trying to make is, understanding that relationships are powerful. Like, how would you rate those relationships? And I'm not talking about beer drinking buddies. I'm talking about the people that literally can transform your lives. Like, I'm talking about the people. And I was mentioning, I think on 2 podcasts ago, that I've challenged some of my doctors to spend time with people that have high net worth and doing well. And I was just spending time with somebody who'd sold off 7 dental practices. And I spent time with somebody who sold off a $100 million company that has nothing to do with dental. And when you start putting yourselves in these conversations and build these relationships, it's pretty powerful what ends up happening. And relationships, believe it or not, are the key, and as you start to become more valuable to those relationships. By the way, you have a part too. I think one of the things I've said one time was that you always hear this thing that says you're the sum of, your net worth's the sum of the 10 people you spend the most time with. And you go, well, I'll just go hang out with people that have more money, right? Then that'll be the key to that. Well, it's like, but are you the person that attracts those people, right? Are you the person that has developed yourself enough to them want to invite you to that circle? And so there's kind of some parts to this conversation, which is like, I want to go build, first of all, awesome relationships. And I need people in my life. If I'm going to create wealth, one of the things I heard one time, this guy, is saying, hey, I want you to go spend time with private equity people. And he came back to his mentor and he's like, I've spent time with 6 of them. He goes, I thought you cared. Like, I thought you really wanted to be involved in this. Like, go meet 20 of them, right? Proximity is power. Proximity is powerful. And are you, if you rated your relationships right now, if you looked at those relationships and the people that are there for you, I'm talking about not just people that are transactional in nature, okay? Don't just say, well, my banker was really nice to me because I did this $3.5 million loan. I'm talking about the people that would be there for you no matter what. What is the quality of those relationships? And if you rank those 1 through 10, how many would you have that are 10s? And then the question is, how many do you have? right? How many relationships do you have? How many people that are in your circle, right? That you would come back and say, man, these are people that they would be there for me when it's high. They'd be there for me when it's low. They understand capital management. They understand money, man. They really care about me and my family and where we're growing and what we're doing. I mean, they're heads in the game. How many of those do you have? And I say this because, man, I tell you, if you couldn't grasp one thing, I want you to understand that is so powerful that the biggest thing is, remember, like I've said on this podcast before, that wealthy people, what they do, wealthy people, is they spend money to get their time back. And people that are broke, what they do is they spend their time to save their money. And that this goes back into we're adding on to the subject, because you start thinking about it and going, what would I do if I got my time back? Maybe I'd read, maybe I'd spend some time with my family, or hell, maybe I'd go spend time with people that are transformative in nature. Maybe I would work to go get in those circles. Maybe I would invite someone to lunch. And by the way, there's always a difference. I was sitting in a group of people and telling them this one day, and I had a doctor walk up, and I'm telling you, she's a go-getter, and she said, I've already set up a meeting. See, I would expect you, if you're really serious about this, by the end of this podcast, you've already set up a meeting. That's a test. Are you just listening to it, or are you going to take action? Who can you bring into your life? Who do you know that knows somebody else that could bring into your life? I'm talking about the type of people who are not just transactional, but who you could bring into your life that care about you, but that can also help transform your wealth, transform your knowledge, help you get more time, help you get more capital. Maybe these are people that have capital and they have access to capital. By the way, you know what? I spend time with a lot of people who have a lot of extra money. Guess what they're looking to do? Find a place to put money, and all you've got to do is have a great idea. You better know that I'm telling you the truth, that there's a lot of people out there that don't want to just put their monies and sit on the sidelines and just throw it in some stocks. They're looking actively for people like you who have great ideas, and they want to invest in great ideas. You got to go searching. And part of searching is being in relationships, being in circles, being in areas where people are having concepts and conversations that tweak your brain, and you start to go, oh my gosh, I've got this amazing idea, or what about this? And so if you're in a circle and the only thing you guys do in your circle is talk about the NFL and drink beer, look, there's nothing wrong with watching the NFL and drinking beer, but it's not going to get you where you want from a success standpoint. Now, I'm not saying you can't meet somebody over a beer that could change your life, but it's not likely. The likelihood is those people are spending their time focusing on doing amazing, great things and building and creating, and they want to be around other people like them. Like attracts like. There's kind of two parts of this podcast. Really, one is, are you becoming the valuable person? Are you listening to what I said in the other podcast, which is, are you doing the things you need to basically get your time back? Therefore, are you taking your money and getting your time back? And then with that time, what the hell are you doing with it? Are you just getting your time back so you can sit on the couch? Or are you getting your time back and going out and being transformative, getting ideas, growing, make that time valuable? Don't just get time back and waste it. Well, then you should just go mow your lawn. But I'd make that time valuable. And then one of the things I encourage you to do, now, one of the things I say, yes, absolutely spend time with your family. That's different. That's called regeneration. But the other side of this is go spend the time on a Saturday and go meet somebody who would be an amazing person in your life. There are people literally right now that would stop everything they're doing to come help you. See, people have made it. So many people who become billionaires, trust me, they want to help other people get and be successful. But I doubt they're just going to come ring your doorbell. You got to go looking and searching and look at your relationships you're with now. And I want you to look at the relationships in your life and ask yourself, in a great economy, did this person leave me? Are they on to the next person? And in a bad economy, if things hit the fan, would this person be there? And if you can look across the table and say, this person cares about me and my success. They're a successful person. They're transformative by nature. They want to see me get to the next level. They're willing to go above and beyond. Then go find more of them. Want to become wealthy? Pick up your phone and make a text, make a contact, right? Don't freaking listen to something like this. And I sound passionate. I am. Don't listen to something like this and then just go, well, I think I'll do that next Tuesday when I've got some extra time. Make it happen. I'm telling you, people that change their lives are the ones that make it happen. People that believe they can change their lives are the ones that do. And part of that is building relationships and bringing people. By the way, if you're inspiring and you're motivating and you're transformative and you learn about money, do you think you would attract other people that feel the exact same way? If you went to go do a deal right now, you were starting a business, do you know, I mean, it's a great question for you, by the way. Think about this. If you went to go start a business tomorrow and you needed $5 million, okay? $5 million, and you just needed $5 million. It's the best idea. By the way, this is like the best idea. This is like a high profit. It's killing it. The likelihood of success is huge. I mean, we've run the numbers. This is an amazing thing. Would you be able to make a few phone calls and get the 5 million, or would you have to take out a loan? And I'm not saying that you, maybe we end up taking out a loan because we know how to use capital, but there's a great question for you. Could you get the 5 million by making a few phone calls? And if you couldn't, you haven't built the right relationships. And if you're listening to this podcast thinking, I'm going to create wealth, and you thought it was about accumulation, it's about so much more than that. Guys, get after this. Make it happen. Don't just listen to this podcast and then put it down and go, well, I'll just think about this later. Make it happen. You only get one life. Take advantage of it. Make it the best you can, and then go impact a whole hell of a lot of people. Guys, thanks for listening. Glad to have you on this podcast. Share this. As I tell you on the podcast, if this is great information for anybody. Share it. Maybe you should share this with a relationship that you should build, right? I was listening to this guy, Eric, and he seemed animated, and I listened to this podcast and got me excited. And man, I want to send this out to you. And I think you would be one of my people. Like, I would love for you to be one of the people, one of the relationships that I build. And I think you'd be the perfect person to be in my circle. And I'd love to be an honor to be part of your circle and you be part of mine, and share it. Like, this inspired me to go find and build a better circle. I'm telling you, it'll change your life, guys. Share this, like it, pass it on, listen to the next one, get motivated, guys. You can do way more than you think. But I'm telling you, the company you keep makes a huge difference. Build the relationships, guys. Thanks for listening.